Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News, October 11th, 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to apologize first off. I know I haven't been doing any live streams, very few videos over the last 2 weeks. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. You know, it's kind of like the same old garbage with social media. But I've been privy to some new information on what's actually going on with YouTube and also Facebook. And I wanted to show all of you what's actually been happening to me. And it's quite startling. Nothing like this has happened in the past. Maybe here, maybe there. But what's actually happening to me on Facebook with all of my Facebook pages. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the live chat. We're going to let everybody get their late notifications from the boob tube. And let's just make sure that we are... Oh, here we go. Okay. Yeah, they're really playing around with my my social media accounts, and it's pretty disgusting, to tell you the truth. I guess I hit nerves every now and then. Okay, I got the live chat up. I could see all you guys. But I wanted to show all of you this, and this has been quite startling for me over the past 10 days. And this kind of started directly after my last live stream. And what I have set up here on my screen right now is the Facebook support inbox. And the only time you're going to go to this support inbox is when Facebook is notifying you that you did something wrong and they're scolding you. Yeah. So this all goes back to roughly October 1st. Now, some of you may know, some of you may not know, but I also run a news organization website and Facebook page. And on my news website, I have over 102,000 followers worldwide. And I do news articles just about every single day. And I do a lot of news-related videos. And the majority of that is all political. I'm sure all of you see what is playing out in the political world as we speak. It's quite hilarious. But my news media website, look, it is a revenue stream for me. I'm not going to lie. It is an income. And as of lately, no matter what I post on Facebook, they are automatically flagging it as spam. And it doesn't matter if it is a news article from my website or from my Planet X News website or just a general post. It doesn't matter. They have kind of clued in on all of my Facebook pages. I even do my local news. I have a Facebook page set up where I do local news here for my Tri-County area in the Pittsburgh area. And they have targeted that. My public figure page, they have targeted that. They have even targeted the Planet X News Facebook group page. And this is just really bizarre. But it does lead back to one thing. And that is, obviously, I've touched a nerve somewhere down the social media line. Look, I knew that many years ago, but it's actually gotten worse. So let's take a look at what I'm referring to. So on October 9th, I just want to show you guys this so you don't think I'm playing around and, I'm not trying to BS any of you, because that's not in my personality here. But immediately after I share an article from my websites, or even, like I said, just a general post, they immediately flag it, and it says right here, this post goes against our community standards on spam. It's in review. Now, you could see the date right there, October 9th. And let's see if we could see. You can't see what this post was. But then we roll down here, October 8th. Still in review. Same thing. This post goes against community standards. And that means that nobody can see the post at all. And it's quite ridiculous. You see this post right here? This was going on to my news Facebook page. What does it say? Adams shift and Sondland's no-show indicates obstruction by Trump administration, with a picture of Adam Schiff. Okay, how is that spam? I mean, do they even know the definition of spam? So obviously somewhere within their algorithms, they're definitely targeting me. You could see all of these are in review. Here's another one for August 8th. And Rosenstein email to Mueller, the boss doesn't know we're talking. Now, these are all in the news media, on all of the news media giants' websites, Facebook pages, Twitter, on TV. But what makes me any different than all of them? Yeah. So as you could see, that was August 8th. There was a few of them that I actually won the appeals, but 90% of them, they're not showing anybody. And they're nothing outrageous. You can see all of these, one after the other. Look at this one. This was on October 1st. Right down here at the bottom. A series of unusual weather events hit the city of Davis, California. And this goes back to September 28th and 29th. I mean, all I was showing was a photograph of like a dust devil tornado out there in California. Just a general post. And you could see this post goes against our community standards on spam. How is that spam? And we can go on. Here's even more. Oh, wow. A winter storm. Wow, that's spam. I just did a general post on a record-smashing snowstorm. Blah, blah, blah. Well, there you go. Facebook considered that to be spam. I did get a couple of them from October. On October 1st, they hit me all of a sudden with 7 violations for spam. And they were all related to news articles. We can't see them. Oh, but they apologize. Oh, we're sorry. We got this wrong. And I mean, you could see this goes on and on. This went through September and all the way into August 15th and so on and so forth. So this is what they've been doing to me on social media. I've looked into some of this with a few deep, dark hacker friends on one of these hacker boards that, I check out information that these guys are putting up related to social media and things of that nature. I don't use any of their hacker talents. I don't have no time for that BS. But they've been analyzing and watching what is being done to me, and it's being done to thousands and thousands of other people. So it's very, very hard for me to get information out there. It's just absolutely asinine what they're doing, and I don't really know the reason why. I mean, I could sit here and assume all day long and speculate, but I guess the information that I put out and a lot of other truthers, they just don't want it buzzing around the world. You know, it's a sad thing, but that's the world that we live in today. This is the Facebook group. I wanted to show you guys something. And then we'll get into some of this other titled information that's on my thumbnail here. What's going on here on our Earth. But whenever I post something in my own group on Facebook, the Planet X News group, hardly anybody in the group sees it. And right up here, we have almost 3,200 members. And these people are very active in this group. They're posting things and blah, 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 and showing photographs and things of that nature. But it seems that whenever I post something to my own damn group, nobody sees it. Nobody sees it. So, as you can see right here, 13 minutes ago, right there, I posted this live stream that I'm doing right now. Look, no comments, no likes, no shares, no nothing. I posted this article 55 minutes ago pertaining to the Sadler Ridge fires that are burning out there in California. 1 comment, 2 shares. Nobody's really seeing it. I've asked a lot of people in the group if they see my posts, and they've gone down through the group page, and for some reason or another, they don't see them. Sometimes they don't see them for a whole day. Maybe 24 hours or 48 hours later, they see them. And they're not getting notifications from me on Facebook either. There's nothing I could really do about it. But same thing here. 1 hour ago, posted this article about this slow-moving nor'easter that is affecting parts of the Northeast. That's it. No comments, no likes, no nothing. Posted another article 2 hours ago. 1 person. Now I'm gonna get to these comments because you're gonna find this pretty annoying. Another article: climate change threatens hundreds of North American bird species with extinction. Very, very serious information. I'm going to talk to all of you about this climate change situation. Same thing goes for Mark from the Blue Kool-Aid channel. Mark posts his videos up here. He's been doing a fantastic job. He just had this video come out this morning, about 5 hours ago. And look, 3 lousy shares, no likes, no comments, no nothing. No nothing. Now, let's buzz down here. I posted this October 8th, a couple of days ago, 3 days ago. That's it. 2 comments. 2 comments. Oh, it says 5. Oh, okay, I'm sorry, 5 comments. So on and so forth. But if you go down, now let me show you something here. I did this article about the possibility of that UFO being, a group of UFOs being sighted off the coast of North Carolina. But 6 comments. That's it. Now look at this. I didn't post this article. Somebody else posted this article. This guy here, Cody Croft. I don't know how. Look, that's a tough name right there. Kropf. Okay. So this was posted on October 8th, 3 days ago. 16 comments, 3 shares. Yeah, people were going at it. So they are obviously monitoring what I'm doing on the Facebook group page for Planet X News. And, I mean, the more you go through here, if you go back and you start looking at other articles, I posted, people were asking me about the books. So I posted some direct links for the books that Dr. Albers and I have published. Look, 8 lousy likes, no comments, no shares, no nothing. Same thing, over and over. I posted some of the books here, nothing. So when I first started this group, people were really, really engaged. And that was when we only had a couple hundred members. But then all of a sudden, the memberships took off, and I got a notice one day from Facebook telling me that I'm adding too many members too quickly. I wasn't adding any members. They were adding themselves. Just on one day, all at one time, I had 98 people. And that's when I got that notice. So Facebook is up to a bunch of stinking garbage. And you could call it censoring. You could call it shadow banning. You can call it whatever you want. Here was a video that I did about the scientists in Siberia discovering a sea that is boiling over with methane. And that is because of the permafrost melting and the disintegration of plant life. And it's producing methane. And that is a big, big problem. And that all boils over into the climate change that we are going through. So we could go on and on. You know, and I've been posting a lot of information on Facebook, online, and the majority of the information I'm putting out there is all going onto the Planet X News private network, because I don't have to worry about being censored or shadow banned there. So, folks, I think we're coming down to a time where people that you look to for your information in this so-called truth community, before too long, these people are not going to exist. I don't mean they're going to be, dead or, taken off the earth. But you're just not going to be able to see it unless you are going to be going to some type of a private website or some type of a private site where the social media giants don't have control of what you see. I mean, this is kind of like borderline communism, if you ask me. But something else that... this is another post of mine that got flagged on my personal Facebook page. It's a big problem. It says, in case you weren't aware, yes, there are really government agents that are paid to spread lies and propaganda as comments on social media and blogs. And they're watching everything that you do. Maybe not you guys in general, but for people like me and many, many others, I'm assigned to one of these jerk-offs right here with the alphabet soup logos on the back of their jackets. And they watch everything I do. Every keystroke, everything I post, it's all right there. Now check this out. A few days ago, I was having a private conversation with one of these guys from the hacker board that I just watch what they post and I read their information. And they were discovering these new bots. And the majority of these new bots were developed by you-know-who. The social media giant that you're watching me on right now. I don't want to blurt out no names. And Facebook. Yeah. Now, Twitter doesn't use these comment bots. So immediately, if I post something that is related to this climate change fiasco, using specific words, those bots are programmed to leave comments. They're not even human beings. The same thing applies for the boob tube. I post a video and immediately these wacko bots are leaving comments. Not human beings, bots. These bots are not meant to piss me off. They are meant to cast doubt in your mind. You, the reader, the viewer, the follower, the subscriber. The more and more you see these negative comments, you start to think to yourself, oh, hell, I'm not even going to waste my time watching this guy anymore, or I'm not going to follow him on social media. So the conversation that I had with this gentleman, he said that these bots are very, very sophisticated. They are actually, artificial intelligence. They literally have the ability to learn. You can't even tell the difference between a real human being leaving a comment and one of these comment bots. So that is a big, big problem also. And folks, I'm going to be dead honest with you. Gathering information and gaining information other than what is out there from the news media giants is becoming harder and harder and harder. A lot of the websites that I use for my research and Planet X detection, they're basically going bye-bye. I mentioned that the other day in a post that I created, and the first comment, within a matter of a few seconds, this guy pops in, fake Facebook account, and he says, I'm not having any problems with the tools that you use. Well, wait a minute. I have never even divulged to all of you over the years the actual websites and tools that I use. So I looked at this guy's Facebook profile and it was pretty much blank. That's it. Now, that Facebook account's been around for a few years, but each and every one of these bozos that you see there on your screen from the Alphabet Soup Gang, they've had these profiles. Some of them go back 2008, 2009, and they'll post garbage on there, just in case a person like me looks into them. So sometimes, folks, when you are actually maybe having a conversation under a post on Facebook, and maybe you are going back and forth in a little debate, the odds of you debating a bot are about 90%, unless you actually know the person personally. So this is the garbage that's been going on Facebook, and I'll tell you the truth. Between the boob tube and Facebook, they're running hand in hand, man. I turned off all of the comments on all 2,100 of my videos on YouTube, and that was just to piss off some trolls and also to watch these bots a little more closely under my newer videos. And my newer videos, I've allowed the comments to be open, and I do go through them. And one of these bots left a comment on a video that I uploaded the other day, and the comment came through immediately. I mean, the video was only on my YouTube channel for about, I'd say, 2 or 3 minutes. The person could not have even watched the whole video, but yet they were commenting, and they were talking about my revenue stream. Oh, you're not making money on YouTube anymore. Well, that's not true, but it had absolutely nothing to do with the video at all. So they want these negative comments to shine for all of you to see. And something else, in a lot of my latest short videos, I'm barely seeing the regular people that watch my videos. Either I'm not seeing their comments or their comments are not being shown. So there's a lot of weird things happening with social media. I've been doing my damnedest to fight with it, but, I don't have the technology like they do to bust through it. Last month, in the month of September, was one of the first months that we haven't had a Planet X detection in a long, long time. And I found that to be very unusual. But what I did find out in the month of September is there was a lot of manipulation with the tools and the websites that I use. Some of these websites are maintained by colleges and universities. And now they're all gone. They're all offline. Period. They're gone. There's a lot of manipulation going on with the NASA sites that we use, like SDO and SEEDS and the Stereo website. And then I just got another email out of the blue from the people, it'd be the United States Navy that runs the SETI website. Now, we haven't had access to SETI in 9 months. Remember, I sent them an email a few weeks ago, and I asked them, hey, when is the SETI website going to be finished? When are we going to be able to see data? And they got back to me relatively quick. They sent me another email, and they told me that somebody else would be getting in touch with me. Well, sure enough, it was just maybe about a week ago. I forwarded the email that they sent me. I forwarded it to Mark over at the Blue Kool-Aid channel. And I told him, I said, look, man, check this out. Out of the blue, they emailed me and they said, oh, the SETI website is not going to be available for another 6 months. Wow. You guys must be putting together one hell of a website. But here's the thing, folks. I know all about websites. I can build websites. I've been in this industry for a long, long time. If you are upgrading a website or building a new one as a business, company, whatever, you're not going to take your old website down. You're going to leave that up there so people don't lose touch with you. And then when the new website is done and you're building that website on a private server, then you simply move the new website, bingo, right over to the DNS and it's online. The old one's off, the new one is on. So if you think about it, wow, the United States Naval Observatory can't figure that out. Or they're just hiding every damn thing, and the development of the new website is just something to blow us off, and we will forget about the SETI website. Just like we forgot all about the Soho and Lascaux coronagraph website that they took down on January 24th of 2017. We didn't get any access to it for almost a year. And then the access that you do have to it is point blank minimal. So that's it. Things are becoming harder and harder to detect. That much is a fact. But I just wanted to clue you guys in on all of this that's going on social media, because I have people, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people a day, telling me that they don't see my videos, they can't find me on the internet, they can't find my website, they can't find me on Facebook, even Twitter, look, I post on Twitter, oh my God, constantly, all day long, my news articles and short videos. It's all political, the majority of it. And I've been on Twitter for years. And I only have like 208 followers. That's it. That's it. I don't get it. I have been at that same number of 208 followers, I'd have to say, for the last 3 years. I mean, am I that dangerous to the social media platforms that they don't allow me to grow organically, naturally? It's absolutely incredible what's happening out there. But I just wanted to let you guys know all of that. There's something else that I want to discuss while we're on social media. And this is probably going to burn a few people's asses. And it is what it is. I just want to zoom down here. Maybe I'll catch an article. Just bear with me. And this was a clip that I shared a couple of days ago. We were actually seeing this same pattern of these earthquakes that stretch across from the South Pacific over top of India and getting into Eastern Europe, as you see by the blue lines. Every single month, we see that same pattern of earthquakes. I don't know what's causing it. It's very, very odd. I've been trying to figure it out, but something's occurring every single month where these earthquakes show this same identical pattern. And it's usually in the beginning of the month. I was privy to some whistleblower UFO information, and I was only able to upload it to my my private network, but I did take a little bit of a risk, and I posted the link to my drive, and it was pretty mind-blowing. Some of you guys might want to check this out, and a lot of information like this I'm only able to put on the private network. And it's mind-blowing information, folks. I mean, it will definitely fry your brain quite a bit learning some of this information about the UFO community, what's actually going on, and what these whistleblowers are telling people. The majority of these whistleblowers in the UFO community, they're very old. They're in their 70s, some of them close to 80. And they were around in some of the beginning times of this alien disclosure, and I think they have a lot to get off their chest. But there's a lot of information I've been posting on that. But I want to get down to... I want to get down to a couple of... man, look at that guy's freaking head. I think that dude's an alien. He's got a head just like one. But I want to scoot down here. I want to show you guys a few things. Okay, I have a lot of people posting a bunch of nonsense in the group also. Maybe they don't know any better. Maybe they do. But it's short videos like what you're seeing there that are complete nonsense. And something that I've been noticing, let me get down here. If people post crap in the group, I delete it, because all it does is it muddies the waters of what we're actually trying to do, and we're actually trying to show people the 100% truth. Here's a prime example here of an aperture lens flare, as you could see where my little cursor finger is right there. We have a bunch of people all over social media, all over Facebook, all over YouTube, posting complete garbage. And they're doing it on purpose. They are literally flooding social media with complete 100% nonsense. Some of the people that you follow on social media. Like I said, folks, you don't know who these people are. You've never met them. You don't know who they are. They are flooding. They are flooding the internet, social media with complete garbage. Just total lens flares. Trying to get down to some of it. I think I deleted most of it. Maybe I didn't. I'm sure there's some of them in here somewhere. Oh, here's somebody who posted some garbage from Gil Broussard. I guess this Planet 7X and Gil Broussard's coming out with new dates and new garbage. And that's basically all that it is. I have people asking me about it all the time. Just bear with me here. I think I deleted the majority of the actual garbage. Real quick, one article that I just did on the Planet X News website. All of a sudden, is it Krakatoa? No. Kilauea. This article is something different. Kilauea, the massive volcano in Hawaii, is filling up with water. And the USGS, the boys in green, they've been keeping a very close eye on it. Started off with a small lake forming in the center. It's actually quite deep, but it's filling up with water, and they may not be telling us the complete truth about why that's happening. But there's a possibility that it may completely sink, and that could create some very, very serious issues in Kilauea. I've been keeping an eye on it over at the USGS, and they put out a video on it, a quite lengthy video on their YouTube channel. But this is another common garbage photograph. The second sun photographs. Look, I reply to it as quick as I can, and people just don't get it. They don't want to hear it. These people are scammers. I'm trying to get down to some of it. I delete the majority of the garbage that people try to put on the group page, because we have a lot of people that try to infiltrate the group, and that is specifically meant to create doubt in your mind. But I pretty much deleted the majority of the garbage that some folks do post in here, and I give them two shots, man. Whenever I do delete the post, it gives me an opportunity to send that person a message and say, look, your post was deleted for this reason or that reason. Don't do it again. And then if they do it again, I'm able to remove all of their posts that they ever posted in the group, delete and block them, and throw them out of the group. I've only had to do it about 10 times since I started this group. But about a week ago, we had this information coming out about the cosmic rays, the increase in cosmic rays. And I've been talking about this for quite some time. There's a few other truthers on YouTube that have been, exposing this for quite some time. But these cosmic rays are increasing. I'm going to get right into what's happening with the climate, folks. Let me take a sip of my Red Bull first. Oh my God, there's a stink bug on my ceiling. How did he get up there? Watch this. This is how I deal with stink bugs in the house with my prime time illegal laser. I wish you guys can see this, but I'm about to zap this stink bug. Oh, oh, he's burning. Yeah. Oh, there he goes. Oh, I got him. Yeah, buddy. You don't mess with the Planet X News red laser or the blue laser. It will get you. Man, I torched his butt. Poor thing's down on the ground over there smoking. Yeah. But anyways, getting into this climate stuff, folks. The climate change is real. There's no doubt about that. But the big question is, why is it happening? And I've discussed all of this with you before. Right now, you know, the Earth going into these phases of this climate change is absolutely real. The new words climate change have been placed into the algorithms of the social media giants. Okay? They want you to think that the climate change is man-made. That's a complete lie. I don't care who you talk to. I don't care what information you provide. Climate change by man, what is happening right now, is a complete lie. The reason why the Earth is heating up down here on the surface of the Earth, a large portion of this so-called climate change has to do with geoengineering, stratospheric aerosol injections, chemtrailing, okay? Chemtrailing, the majority of it is to prevent cosmic rays and these heavily charged particles, kind of deflect them back out into space. But in the meantime, the chemtrails, as they put that canopy over top of us, they're locking in all of the Earth's surface heat. So as heat rises, it can't go any further. You understand that. It is that simple. And that is what they've been doing for a long, long time. They've known about these occurrences that are brewing out there in space. They knew that there was going to be a huge problem when the solar minimum occurred, because the Earth's magnetic field was going to weaken. Therefore, cosmic rays would affect the Earth more and more and more. The same thing applies with the heavily charged particles that come from the sun in the form of the solar wind. It's all happening. At the same time, you don't hear too many people talking about X-rays and infrared radiation coming from the sun and also this other object. So infrared radiation creates heat. So we are literally being bombarded by all of this solar radiation, and now it's getting through more and more and more. And the further we go into the solar minimum, the worse that it is going to get. It also affects the jet stream. What affects the jet stream is all of the melting ice in the North Pole. Forget about the South Pole. The South Pole really isn't going through global warming. They're actually, the Antarctica is actually increasing in ice. Now, there was a big chunk that broke off, I don't know, about a week ago, pretty big piece, but that's kind of normal for Antarctica. But the North Pole, the majority of the people on this planet live in the northern hemisphere by sheer numbers. And the way that the Earth is tilted on its axis, well, that's giving more room for all of that radiation to compound and just pelt the North Pole. Now, a lot of people don't realize that when we are getting bombarded by the solar wind and you see the geomagnetic storms in the form of aurora. Aurora, just absolutely beautiful, spectacular to see. But when we're getting pelted with solar wind, it's not coming directly in and hitting the Earth flush. Those heavily charged particles, they come in through the openings at the top of the Earth and through the bottom of the Earth, our poles. More so through the North Pole. I did have a visual on that I could show you guys. I'd have to dig it all up. But that's how that comes in. And that's why we see the aurora in the North Pole and the South Pole. But the aurora in the North Pole is just magnificent. So much more is seen in the north than in the south. All of those heavily charged particles pummeling inward into the North Pole has been one of the main factors of all of the ice melting up there. As all of that ice has gradually melted and decreased, the albedo factor, which is the reflectivity of these cosmic rays, all of these heavily charged particles, and sunlight itself, the reflection factor is basically gone. So that means that the North Pole heats up. All of the ice has melted. All of that fresh water, ancient water, flowing into the Pacific, flowing into the Atlantic, completely screwing things up. And that also plays around with and disturbs our jet stream. Things are never going to be the same on this planet, folks. If you guys are in your 40s and 50s and 60s, what you remember from your early years in life, how the seasons were and how the weather was, throw it all out the door, because you will never, ever, ever see that again. You just won't. I'm just being dead honest and realistic with you. You're not going to see that ever again. Things are going to get much, much worse with our climate, but it's not something that is going to end the Earth. Okay? We have a greater chance of human life being extinct by a meteor or an asteroid hitting our planet than we do with the current situation out there with Planet X detection. However, there's a very, very high possibility from all the data that I've seen over the last 2 years. It is telling me that as this solar minimum gets deeper, we are going to experience even more radiation, not only coming from the sun, but coming from that object. We're not going to get pelted with that radiation all of the time, but at least twice per month, we're going to be exposed to that additional radiation. And I don't think the North Pole is ever going to be the same, because you had millions of years of ancient ice up there that is pretty much gone. And even NASA admits it. And some of the leading climatologists, they know it's happening. They know why it's happening, but they're not going to come out and risk their careers to tell you the truth. They'll tell you that the ice has melted, and when it reforms, it's thin. And that just causes it to melt quicker during the season changes. Now, talking about season changes, let's get into some of that. Let me get out of this Facebook crap. Oh, that's not what I wanted. And big, massive storms, man. This one that's over in the Pacific, man, this thing is about to crush Japan. And this is just a common factor of what is occurring in the northern hemisphere with the jet stream and these powerful storms. These hurricanes, cyclones, typhoons. They're just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Let me bounce back here real quick. That's not what I wanted. Where is the one that I wanted? You know, I keep an eye on the jet stream every single day. I'll show you guys some of that. But the upper northeast is being threatened right now. You see this area, this big low pressure. That's creating a nor'easter situation for just about all of Jersey. New York's going to feel some of it. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, just about half the state of New York and so on, up into Maine. And who in the hell heard of a nor'easter in the beginning of October? Hey, it's all climate change. Talk to little Greta about that. That poor thing. Using that little girl. But that's the current situation right there for the upper northeast. Big low pressures. Big high pressures. Some of what you're going to see in the time to come, you're going to see countries in Europe like Spain, France, and Ireland, and the UK on that western edge of Europe going this way. You're going to see them getting pummeled with the remnants of storms that are going to be coming across the United States. If they get lucky, they'll curl up into the eastern part of Canada. If they are unlucky, they're going to be driven straight across the Atlantic, and they are going to pummel the living hell out of those countries. And they're going to be like hurricanes. They're going to be like freaking cyclones, whether it be winter, spring, summer, or fall. If you live in low-lying areas near shorelines, you can guarantee that you're going to be a victim of storm surge, mass flooding, or an abundance of snow and ice. Now, not saying that we're going into an ice age, no. But the way that these storms are going to roll through, that is just the pattern. This has been setting up. I've been watching this set itself up for the last couple of years. The last 3 years, I've been telling people this is what we're going to expect. This year so far has caught me by surprise by that big, gigantic, nasty storm that set up in the center of the United States. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this for right now. Let me shrink my head down just a little bit. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. That big storm that's rolling across the United States. I mean, it's going to be, well, it is already dumping large amounts of snow and wind, and that storm is just absolutely crazy. We're in the beginning of October. I posted something about this the other day, and immediately one of the bots came out and they said, this weather is normal for where I live. Oh, okay. Well, I went back, and I knew that was a bullshit comment. But I went back into historical weather, which is very easy to do. And I found that his comment was a complete freaking lie. So the current situation that we see is just absolutely crazy. You see this town up here, Minot, North Dakota? I spent 5 years in the natural gas drilling industry here in the Pittsburgh area. And I actually worked with some guys that worked for companies up there in Minot. And Minot the town has exploded with people. But I talked to them about the weather situations up there in Minot during the wintertime, minus 60 degrees. And they filled me in on the weather up there. And the weather does change pretty rapidly. But in the beginning of October, to have a massive blizzard, nah. You can see by some of these totals right here. Valley City, 12 to 18 inches. Dresden, 18 to 24. Grand Forks, 18 to 24. Fargo, 8 to 12. Watertown, 3 to 5. This is all current, and it's actually going to get maybe a little bit worse. Let me blow this up for you. And this is the same pattern that started to occur last year. And that's when we saw those big, deep troughs, these big, deep, low-pressure troughs that at some points last year made their way all the way down to Mexico. But that wasn't till way into the wintertime. Here we are in the beginning of October, and look at that trough. That trough has literally come down all the way to northern Texas. A little bit further, and it would be in Mexico. So that big, gigantic dip, blame all of that on the jet stream. Now that trough is going to move across the United States, which it already has. This was from Wednesday. We are into Friday already. So that trough is moving across the United States. Last year we saw that big, gigantic hurricane-type storm that wiped out part of the Midwest and the central part of the United States. And then everybody thought that it was going to crush the Northeast. But the jet stream pulled it upward right around Ohio, and it missed me and the entire Northeast. These are the same identical patterns that we are going to see this year. Some folks in the Northern Hemisphere are going to experience just absolutely traumatic winter weather. And then there's going to be other folks that are going to see kind of maybe a drier or a wetter winter, kind of mediocre, mild, like I had last year here in the Pittsburgh area. When I was a kid growing up here in the Pittsburgh area, we had absolutely death-defying winter weather, starting in, December, January, February, sometimes even into March. The last couple of years, our winter times have been way below average. But as you can see, the main culprit for all of this is that jet stream. The jet stream is completely out of order. It's completely destroyed. It's not even one circulation around the Northern Hemisphere. It's all busted apart. And it is creating some very, very horrible situations for people in all of those states. And for those folks that live in, I would say, probably two-thirds of the United States are going to be under the gun with this type of crazy weather all the way into the spring. But guess what, folks? Remember what happened last spring? That just passed in 2019? What happened? All of the floods, all of that area completely flooded. Like a third of the United States was one big freaking lake. Where's all of our food supplies? They're all right there. So, I mean, that's what some of these so-called conspiracy theorists talk about when they say food prices are going to be rising. Food prices are going to be rising. Well, we got a good taste of that this past spring. Next spring, 2020, it's going to be the same damn thing, but it's probably going to be even worse. So, preparation is a pretty damn good idea. Let's move on. So this big low pressure is going to move straight across, which it already is. And I'm not sure if I'm going to see too much from it over here in the Pittsburgh area, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, the whole entire northeast sector. We'll check it out on the jet stream model, and we'll see. This was the clip for going into Saturday. Now you could see that massive blast of cold air. Folks, shall I remind you, it is only the beginning of October. And my weather here in the Pittsburgh area has been actually beautiful. My grass is still growing. The big maple tree that I have in my backyard has all of its leaves. It maybe drops 1 or 2 or 3 leaves a day. Usually by this time, the trees, as Dr. Albers says, are getting denuded, or they're dropping their leaves. We've had some temperatures dip down into the 40s, but then we're seeing about a 30 to 35 degree temperature rise as soon as the sun comes up. You could probably consider some of that to be actual sunlight heating and actual radiation heating. People are a little dumbfounded when I talk about that. Folks, radiation is heat. It creates heat. Radiation. So you don't know the difference on your skin whether you're being pelted with sunlight or radiation. Now, all I could say is this. The Earth is shifting a little bit. It's going into its tilt for the winter. That burn on your skin in direct sunlight should be fading away. But it's not. I was outside yesterday. It was a beautiful day here. Beautiful day. Went out, did a little bit of yard work, was doing some weed whacking around the house. And where the sun was over in that direction around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Wow! Just got a haircut a couple days ago, and the back of my neck is nice and bare. And I could feel the burn, the instant burn of the sun on the back of my neck and the back of my arms. And I said, you know what? The hell with this. I'm not even going to worry about this right now. I'm going to wait till the sun moves around at about 5:30 in the afternoon. It's way over here, and then I could get to the back side of my house over there and not be in that direct sunlight. So that just goes to show you that, you may think that the air temperatures are a little cooler, but that radiation is still strong. And it's actually going to get stronger and stronger and stronger as we go deeper and deeper into this solar minimum. There's no way around it. There's no doubt about it. So protect yourself, protect your kids, use your mind, use your brain. Remember, knowledge is power. Don't let your children out there running around in this hardcore direct sunlight, because skin damage, skin cancer, it's going to be on the rise. It's going to be on the big time rise, and you'll see. You'll see. It's not a good thing. But you could see how far down that trough dipped. Now it is all the way down through Texas, but there's some warmer air moving up, and that's why Texas is staying moderate. But look, I mean, God, look at that. This is the look for the United States for Saturday, for tomorrow. Man. I mean, I've listened to the folks on the Weather Channel, and they're kind of bedazzled about, what's going on. And there were some areas that had a temperature difference of 45 degrees, meaning one day it was like 82 degrees, and then the next day it was like in the high 30s, and so on and so forth. And this is just showing you the kind of fall-like temperatures. But you could see, look here, right over here, Thursday, 31 degrees. Friday, 50. Saturday, 64. That's after that front moved past Denver. That's a lot. From 31 degrees to 64. All of the snow that they had in Denver, what's going to happen to it? It's going to melt. Hey, there's a possibility that all the snow that's being dumped right now, you could see that it's going to melt. It's going to melt as soon as all this passes by. What's that going to create? It's going to create possibly some maybe mild flooding conditions, but it's also going to sink into the soil. In a week or 10 days from now, or maybe 2 weeks from now, as that jet stream kind of circulates around the globe, if that happens again, which it probably will, this is going to create a lot of bad situations for folks that live in that trough. That trough is going to continue. Folks, mark my words, okay? Trust me. Just trust me on this. I've been watching weather for over 25 years. I could probably be a damn meteorologist. But what I see happening is just that. People over here in the south and parts of the northeast, they're going to kind of be spared. But the folks that live, I would say from Washington, Oregon, all the way down through the northern part of Texas and looping back up again halfway through Ohio, are going to be stuck in that trough each and every single time it moves around the earth, unless something else disturbs it. If something else disturbs it, then it's going to change a little bit. But I don't see that happening. Just like last year. This I got from the Weather Channel here. This shows you that massive amount of Arctic air that has been slammed down because of that huge trough. Warmer air moving up creates what? Precipitation. So as that warmer air moved up, once again, we have that massive collision. When did we see that? Where did we see that? Last year. Where? Right over the same section of the United States. Now, for all of our brothers and sisters across the pond, over there in Europe, folks, your turn is coming. It's coming fast. Trust me. Because the way things are setting up, these troughs are going to dump this garbage on us here, and sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it's going to move across the Atlantic and it's going to annihilate parts of northern Spain, all of France, Germany, all of those European countries. But where my biggest fears are for the people in Ireland and the UK, because the way that it flows upward. So there's a very, very big chance that parts of Europe, the UK, Ireland, France, some of these other Eastern European countries, they are going to get hammered. And from what I'm seeing already, they're probably going to have one of the worst winters than they've ever seen in their lifetimes. And it's coming. And it's coming quick. Now, it's not going to happen every single time, but it's definitely going to happen. Here's another shot at temperatures that are going to fluctuate. Here you go. Memphis, Friday, 70 degrees. Saturday, 45. Sunday, 43. That's a pretty good 30 to 35 degree dip in temperatures suddenly. These are extreme temperatures going back here. Friday, 15. Saturday, 26, 32. Not very much movement. But as that trough moves across, and it is slated to kind of move upward a little bit, but we will see. These types of weather situations are very, very unpredictable. If you listen to the folks on the Weather Channel or maybe your local weather on the news, in your locality, watch their words. Listen to their words very, very carefully. I see them again, all of a sudden, being confused about what they're seeing and why it's occurring. I think they truly know the reason. Let's not forget that we are not out of the woods for hurricane season either. Hurricane season doesn't end until November 1st, but because of the way that these jet stream patterns are, there's a high possibility that we could have more storms develop in the South Atlantic, rolling off of Africa. The water is still very, very warm. The wind patterns are already set. Listen, we could easily have a late hurricane season, Category 4, Category 5, that could hit the United States, anywhere from Florida to Virginia. And once again, because of the way the jet streams are set up, it could suck that storm right across the Atlantic and pile drive it right into Ireland or the UK. It just happened. And these are the times that we are living in, folks. There's just no doubt about it. The fire season is upon us. I mentioned 2 months ago, and I also mentioned last month, hey, if you live out there in California, be prepared, because the fire season's coming around the corner. Now, I know a lot of people think that these fires are being purposely set by direct energy weapons. That could be a possibility. There's a lot of weird shit going on out there in California with the government, with the people, with the homeless, from San Francisco, Sacramento, Los Angeles, and San Diego. Very, very weird things going on. They literally want the people out of the state. Yeah. I was just listening to a report yesterday that land is so expensive in the LA area. 1 acre of land to build on, $30 million. $30 million for an empty lot, 1 acre. $30 million. Is there a high possibility that they're allowing the homeless situation and the drug epidemic and the feces and the urine all over the streets to drive people out. So maybe the people in Silicon Valley are able to just stick around and maybe buy up all of this property at a lower cost. Yeah. I think that's what's happening. I think that the bozos in Silicon Valley, which include the boob tube, face puke, and Google, they're all right there, man. They don't care. They're not selling their houses. They're not selling their properties. They're not getting out of California because they can afford it. They're sitting tight. But little do we know that when hundreds of thousands of people, like last year and already this year, are moving out of California, they're taking a bath on selling their properties. They're taking the lowest amount that they could sell it for, and they're getting out. Well, what does that tell you in a real estate business sense? The person that bought your property bought it at a low cost. Now they're going to get all of these people out of there. And now what? Maybe they think they're going to make millions of dollars reselling the properties after the homeless are dealt with and the drug addicts, and they clean up all of the shit and the piss off of the streets. Oh, you know what? That's nothing but a conspiracy. But it's a damn good one, and it's probably the damn truth. Fire season is upon us. Some of it may be natural. Some of it may be instigated. Some of it may be man-made. I know all of you have heard about what's going on out there in California. They're blaming the power companies like they did last year. So what did they do? You know, they're shutting off the power. 800,000, a million people without electricity. Blackout situations. We're not even being hit with an EMP. Nothing. And they're blacking people out. PG&E, the electric company, I think they've gotten sued so many times, they're ready to fold. They're ready to go under. And the fires are already brewing. And it's not going to stop, folks. This is the dry season. Bad forest management. People are aware of their current situations where they live. In California, they know the risks of the fires, but the fires have just gotten so out of hand over the last 3 years. We seem to talk about this every year now for the last 3 years. Is there a way to control this? There is. If they would use some of that chemtrailing ability to do some old-fashioned cloud seeding, well, what? Well, they can dump freaking rain on these areas, moisten the dry vegetation with what? Rainwater. But they don't. They don't. And that's a travesty. But it is what it is. And that's all that they have to do. It's all that they have to do. I wouldn't mind a little cloud seeding. I mean, it would be better than all the chemtrailing. Because just think about, folks, all of the chemtrailing that they do out there, all that's doing is laying a nice layer of aluminum particles and dust all over those dry leaves, all over the roofs of those houses and those cars. And if any of you have ever seen aluminum powder burn, it is highly flammable and explosive. And even a small amount, microparticles, built up on dry vegetation, leaves, plants, grass, whatever. Light a match, throw it on that aluminum powder, and see what happens. It's explosive. One of the biggest fears of people in the coal mine industry is coal dust igniting and exploding. Same thing. So there are things that can be done in California, but they don't want to do them because they have an agenda for that state. We know it. They're not fooling anybody. The governments out there, they're not fooling anybody. Here's a current list of the counties that are possibly going to be going through this power outage that is ongoing. I think this is actually increasing. But you do notice where all of the growing area is that you see right here. This is California's growing area for crops. Untouched. But all of these areas, all of this, power cut. Yeah. That's pretty suspicious if you ask me. But you know what? I'm nothing but a conspiracy theorist. I don't know anything. One thing that does fuel those fires are the wind gusts. And as they call them, the Santa Ana winds that curl down over top of the mountains. And they get pretty high speed. They fuel the fires with what? Oxygen. Fires go absolutely crazy. So some of the areas are expecting light winds. Some of the areas are expecting pretty high winds. High winds, Simi Valley, 35 to 40 miles an hour. Ontario region, 15 to 20 miles an hour. Oh, that's plenty to fuel a fire, especially in very, very dry conditions with a nice hefty layer of aluminum particles all over everything. We know it's happening, folks. You know, they're not fooling anybody. Well, this was a asteroid that's supposed to hit the Earth in about 70 years. I just wrote an article about that, but I want to get into what, well, actually, Mark over at the Blue Kool-Aid channel just did a video a couple hours ago on this object, and it's been very, very hard to capture this damn thing again. You know, and it's on this 28-day orbital cycle around the sun. Last month was the first month that I did not capture it because there was a lot of information missing, a lot of data missing. I think that they are now starting to skew a lot of the data before it gets out there. There's been a lot of time missing. And when I see that time missing, there's only one of two things. They either erased it and they censored it and took it out, or they had a problem with the spacecraft, the satellite. And I don't think they're having problems with the satellite. I think they're definitely watching for it. I did spot this object yesterday, but I was waiting for a little bit more data to catch up to itself. And it never did. And Mark just did a really good video a few hours ago, and he was talking about this object. I mean, you can see it. It's right on target as far as the 28-day orbital timeline. Remember, I said that we'll get 2 shots at seeing this object every single month. It will be from the 7th to about the 13th, 14th, 15th. Between that time period is when we will see it coming up from the ecliptic. Here we are on the 10th, which was yesterday. Bingo. It's right there. Now, this was the first time that I've seen something like this happen. I'm going to show you another photograph. So this was right on target for the 10th. However, we normally see this closer to the 12th and 13th of the month. So I got myself slightly confused. But then as I started looking a little deeper into this data, that object looks kind of small, doesn't it? Usually it's a lot bigger when we see it during this time of month. But also, the Earth is shifting on its axis because we're going into fall. That was one of my thoughts. And then I looked a little further into this data and check this out. Let me get to that. So this picture doesn't look that clean. I couldn't get it any cleaner. So this is hours later. So we saw that little sphere back there, and then hours and hours later, we could see the outline right there. It's so obscured. See, this is what I mean. They're making things so they're making things so ugly now. So I took a screenshot of it. It may be something, it might not be. So we go from here, 11:24. The object is right there. You could barely see it. But it's right on the timeline. Then we go a couple of hours to 2:12, and then this blob shows up. Yeah. So, was it moving closer? I would have to say so. Or, the possibility is, right there where my cursor is, that's absolutely nothing. However, that nothing has a pretty damn circular pattern. I mean, you can see the crisp outline. Yeah. So I tried to run the photograph through my high definition program. Didn't do too much for it because things are just so scattered. And I don't know if it was just the effect from the seeds program or what. But you could see it's even darker. And using this pattern, you could see pretty clear black solid outline, perfect spherical outline. So it's getting harder and harder for us to see these objects when we're supposed to see them. That much is a fact. I'm going to go ahead. I'll pull up the seeds website and I'll show you guys what it actually looked like. Be good. I'll blow this up a little bit. Let's slow it down a little bit. And this is this same thing where I took the still photographs from on the 10th. I'll slow it down a little bit more. And you could see that darker object, well, it faded away there. But you'll see as the video resets, hold on, it's only 59 frames. So if you watch right there, as soon as it resets itself, you'll see the object start to appear. It hasn't reset yet. I slowed it down quite a bit. But if you watch right there where my cursor is, yeah, there you go. Now you'll see it. And then we get that bigger sphere there. It's kind of obscured. It may not be nothing. But for it to be in the same location as that little object, matter of fact, I'm going to try to stop it there so we could take a look at it. I got to shrink it down a little bit. Okay, we'll just progress this through. And then bingo, there it is, right there. So let me see if I could just blow this up a little bit. One more. Let me get the little... So we see it here. I'm going to progress forward. And then already you could see barely, I don't know how, I mean, I have my video streaming quality up to 1080p. But then you start to see the, and look right here. This is an overexposure. So something occurred right then and there that overexposed the camera on the craft. What it can be, I don't know. But as we progress forward, now you could start to see the perfect outline. Perfect. So, you know, folks, in order to get an absolutely perfect circle out there in space, I mean, what do you think it is? I mean, it has to be something. Let's zoom in on it. Let's just take a look. I mean, you could see the crisp outline right there. And again, like I said, it may not be anything, or in the time lapse, it may be that object. When we saw it when it was smaller, it was much further away. And then within a matter of hours, it was making its way. It got a little closer to the camera. And if we move over here, you see the discharge illumination from the sun. All of that right there. Well, if we pass over here, that is what is obscuring it. Or the little boys in blue decided to pixelize it a little bit more, make it a little bit harder to see. It's all possibility. That much is for sure. So it's been harder and harder to see this data on the seeds. It is what it is. This is today so far. Really nothing to see except for some general output, and that's all that we would normally see anyways, because the object is already past the point of view of the space camera, and that's on the LASCO. The LASCO SOHO C2 and C3 coronagraphs. So there's not much to see there. I did want to show you the amount of earthquakes that are just pelting. Well, they probably removed the majority of them by now. Yep, they did. Oh, I should have took a screenshot of it earlier. Oh, this thing was covered. Something that's been suspicious to me is the constant amount of earthquakes occurring around Puerto Rico and the northern part of the Virgin Islands. Constant, non-stop earthquakes. They've just been going off left and right for months now. There was a lot more on this map. They've already removed them on this particular program. We could take a look at the USGS. And this will show us a little bit more. Let's get a different... We'll get rid of this. We'll open this bad boy up. This is all of the earthquakes within the last 7 days, magnitude 2.5 and higher. A couple little earthquakes, Kansas, Oklahoma, possibility of fracking. But this is what I was talking about, getting down into this area of Puerto Rico, off of the Dominican Republic. But look at these swarms. I mean, that's just 7 days. That's a lot. And they're all right there. It's just like a nice little swarm of earthquakes right there, just a little northwest of Puerto Rico. And then you have this one right here. And they're magnitude 4.6. 5.0, here's a fresh one, magnitude 3.2, but I don't know exactly what the hell's going on there, but that's been brewing now for a little while. And, this is something that's quite alarming also. Take a look at the pattern right here, leading off of Mexico all the way down through Central America. Perfect pattern of earthquakes, all magnitude 4s and 5s, right inside of that fault. So, sooner or later, very high possibility they may get cracked with pretty sizable earthquake. High possibility, high magnitude 6 or 7. We will see what happens. But you see a lot of activity right here. Chile, magnitude 5.9. They probably downgraded that. That was probably a 6. But you could see these patterns. You could see these patterns very, very easily all through these fault zones. So, the Earth is just it just seems like it's just expanding, and just cracking even more, but definitely putting a lot more stress on the faults. You could see the Ring of Fire, a whole ton of activity all the way around it. No getting around it. Sooner or later, there's going to be a major quake, whether it be in the Cascadia subduction zone, whether it be in the South Pacific, Indonesia, South America. I mean, we are way, way, way overdue for these high 6s and high 7s. So it's just a matter of time. It is. It's just really a matter of time. What do we got going on over here? 5.1, not too bad. 5.1, all in Indonesia. And also the same thing applies with the volcanoes. See a lot of volcanic activity brewing. And, in one way, folks, the volcanic activity to me is kind of a good thing because it seems to release a lot of pressure that is built up, down, underground, in the mantle. So at any given time, we have 20, 30 volcanoes going off here in our world. That may be a good thing, not being released in some of those other areas. And that may cause things to get backed up in some areas, and they may have a catastrophic earthquake. We'll see. The best thing we could do is just keep on watching, keep on paying attention. And I was going to say hope for things to get better, but look, I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass and tell you it's going to get better when it's not. It's just not. I wanted to show you guys one other thing here real quick. This was the current view of the SDO. And I've used my technique, if you guys just watch very carefully, I've used my technique to show you all of the coronal openings. They're really not coronal holes, but as you watch the technique that I've developed to show you all of those little white dots that you see blinking in the background, that is the sun's atmosphere that has completely disappeared. And all of those heavily charged particles are spewing out towards the Earth constantly. So, and now in this version here, all of the black area, those are all of the openings. So this is all the same footage. I've just shown it to you in different views so you can see the constant bombardment of these heavily charged particles blasting our magnetosphere every minute of every day. And again, we are only in the beginning of this solar minimum. So on this, everywhere where you see white, that's the sun's atmosphere, the sun's corona has dissipated. It is gone. Now, when you get to the backside, it kind of fills in. It kind of reforms. But whenever it makes its way back around, you start to see the interaction, and that atmosphere, the outer corona, it just starts to split apart, open up, and that gives way to all of those heavily charged particles, electrons, protons, photons. They're just blasting the Earth nonstop. As we get further and further into the solar minimum, the sun's magnetic field output is going to decrease. The Earth's magnetic field works off of the sun's magnetic field output. As the sun's decreases, so does the Earth. The Earth's magnetic field decreases when the sun's magnetic field decreases. So, this pattern that we see evolving right in front of your eyes is going to wreak more havoc on the Earth. More volcanic activity, more earthquake activity, more radiation breaking through. This is not going to be a good deal. What you're seeing on your screen right now is one of the main culprits of the so-called, quote, climate change. Okay? Yes, we do have greenhouse gases, ladies and gentlemen. But the greenhouse gases that they're referring to, they want you to think that those greenhouse gases are man-made. But what I've been seeing over the last couple of years is that's completely wrong. Yes, there are greenhouse gases. But what about all the fires burning? What about all of the volcanoes spewing all of the sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere? What about the fires? Where do you think all that smoke goes? Right up into the atmosphere. The carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere right now are way over 400 parts per million. That is extremely high. Very high. It also seems like our atmosphere has gotten kind of thicker or denser, however you want to call it. But that doesn't do us any good either, because that just traps all of that additional heat right in. So when people tell you the Earth is cooling down, in actuality, the Earth is, well, our living area above ground is actually getting warmer. Yeah. So don't be fooled by the whole climate change scenario, radiation is a huge factor in what is happening. The more and more they chemtrail, the more and more heat they lock in. When they lock that heat in, what happens? Ocean temperature rises. Hurricanes get bigger. Air temperatures are higher. And then you have the whole factor in the Arctic, the North Pole. And that deals with our jet stream. Why do you think that we've been seeing these massive extreme temperatures in some locations reaching 125 degrees? Absolutely insane. It is what it is, folks. But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's the end of the world. That's completely untrue. But what is happening is things are changing. Things are changing very, very rapidly. Actually, faster than I ever thought. Because you need data to create a hypothesis. So, over the last couple of years, we've actually needed these events to occur so we can analyze things and we can get a better idea of what's going to happen. Right now, here is the jet stream. Remember that huge trough that I was telling you about? And I'll just pause this so we could take a look at it. But here's that huge trough right there. Now, a few days ago, that trough was over here. And you see just how I was telling you. That trough is going to get sucked right back up, and that big, gigantic winter storm, it's pretty much going to spare the Northeast. But this pattern that you see right here, we could go back a few days. Is this one day? Okay, we went back 2 days. So you see, in 2 days, that's where that trough started to develop. Let's move forward 1 day. 1 day, there it is. So there's a high pressure here, the low pressure here. That's it. Same thing as last year. They're going to collide, and it's going to create massive cyclonic storms that will look like wintertime hurricanes passing across the land. Just like last year when we had that huge system. It looked like a hurricane. It was 2/3 the size of the United States of America. When was the last time you saw something like that? Oh, that's right. Never. So, we could advance 1 day to where we're at right now, and you can see the trough is starting to lift. But look at this piece of jet stream here. I mean, what the hell is that? It shouldn't be like that, but it is. Let's move ahead 1 more day. And now you can see that that trough has completely dissipated. It completely broke apart. And this is weird. This is a very, very weird signature that you're seeing right there. That almost looks like a cyclonic stream in the jet stream. Well, let's just say like a hurricane in the jet stream. It doesn't happen, but it looks like it. It's very, very weird. Very, very weird. And if we just look at the top of the Earth, right dead center, right there where my cursor is the top dead center of the Earth. Look at the jet stream. Is it even one consistent pattern? Hell no, it isn't. It's all chopped up. So therefore, it is very, very hard to real quick at the temperatures during this period. What date is that? That will be tomorrow on the 12th. So we're just a little bit further ahead. So you could see, let's back this off a little bit. You could see, I mean, there's temperatures right in here where there is no polar vortex. Temperatures 38.9 degrees, right where that green circle is. Temperatures where the green circle is right there, 16 degrees in October. Let's look a little further south right down here. 11. 1-1. So, very, very cold temperatures. 9 degrees. Now, you could see, as I showed you with the jet stream, how that trough was literally obliterated, which is a good thing, because that's going to alleviate the stress and pain and suffering that all those people in the central part of the United States are going to go through. Less snow, less freezing temperatures, and let's take a look one more day forward. This is now the 14th, and you could see that trough has been completely destroyed, blown away, because usually, folks, when a trough like that comes across, it stays intact, and it moves across. And then because of the curvature of the Earth and the rotation of the Earth, it tends to move upward like this. But that didn't happen. It was completely annihilated, which in this case was a good thing. Let's move one more day forward. That's the 14th. Let's move to the 15th. Let's take a look at what everything looks like. And now these areas where the temperature was in the teens, let's take a look and see what it is now. Oh, almost 50 degrees. Santa Maria. Yeah, so this is going to be the pattern that we are going to be going through. Check this out up here. Through the little passage up in the North Pole, let's get a dead center reading. -2. That's it. Top of the world. Should be the damn coldest place on Earth. Only -2. Not too far away from the top of the world. It's 38.3 degrees. Right there between Alaska and Russia. Right there where the little land bridge used to be. 35.9 degrees. You know, let me tell you a little story. The other day I ordered a pizza. Yeah. And it was quite chilly outside. And a young guy came to the door. He was wearing shorts and just a thin t-shirt. And I said to him, I said, damn boy, better put some longer pants, getting kind of cold out here. He says, oh, this is nothing. He goes, I enjoy this weather. I'm originally from Alaska. I said, oh, wow, Alaska. I said, what brought you here to the Pittsburgh area? He said, well, my parents sent me to live with my aunt. She lives here. And I said, well, why'd they do that? And he started going into climate conspiracy with me. We stood out on my deck for about 15 minutes talking about climate. You know, he said his dad's a big conspiracy theorist. He said his dad is much, much older, in his late 60s, and he wanted his son, and this guy was probably, I'd say maybe 23, 24 years old. And he said that that his parents and a lot of other people in Alaska for the last several years have been noticing really strange things happening with their climate. And his dad is, born and bred in Alaska his whole entire life. He's never seen anything like it. And his dad was actually fearful about what was occurring. And it's not that he was some damn conspiracy theorist. The man was right. And he told his son, I want you out of Alaska. I want you to go stay with your aunt in the Pittsburgh area. You haven't seen her in 15 years anyways. And he did just that. His dad kicked him out of Alaska. Told him to go live with your aunt in Pittsburgh. Yeah. So that was kind of odd, But people in Alaska, they see what's happening. Last year, we saw that massive thaw of all of that permafrost. We're seeing the same thing in Siberia this past summer. All of that permafrost, all of it thaws out. And guess what, folks? It starts to degrade. What happens when plant life degrades? Turns into methane. Methane is a gas. Where does a gas flow? Upward into the atmosphere. Yeah. I think the global warming scientists and the global warming gurus have it all wrong. Maybe they know the truth. Maybe they don't. But I do know one thing. That this world is run by globalists, very large group of them. They own everything. They own everything, including people. They own all of the major networks, all of the newspapers. Lord knows what else they own. But they influence everything. Everything. You're going to see more and more of this come out, folks, over time. But don't fall for it. Don't fall for the whole climate factor that this is all man-made. Everything that you see happening to this planet that you live on right now is not man-made. The majority of it, if not all of it, is coming from out there. Out there. Would things be different during this time if there was not an object that we refer to as Planet X? And it's not a planet either. It is a core of a dead star. No doubt. But what would things be like if that object wasn't there? Where's that latest picture of that bad boy? So this is from August of this year. So what would things be like if that object was not orbiting our sun and we were not affected by all of the additional radiation? We would just be having another normal solar minimum every 11 years. So if we go back 11 years from 2019, well, whoa, where do we get to? 10, 19 minus 10 brings us to 2009. Huh. And what did we see 2 years further back? What did we catch? Yeah. What did we catch orbiting the sun? Well, hot diggity damn. Yeah. 2007. When it all started to really take place. Yeah. Interesting. So as that bad boy started moving in and its orbital pattern started to decrease as the sun's gravity sucked it in year after year after year till it got closer and closer and closer and closer to the point where now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now part of our solar system. So now we have to deal with the additional radiation factor, not only coming from the damn sun, but from the core of another sun. There aren't two suns in the sky like everybody portrays on the boob tube and face puke. Don't fall for those photographs. Because if there were two actual suns in our solar system, we would all be dead. Okay? So don't fall for the two suns in the sky videos and photographs, because they're all fake. They're all fake. Period. That bad boy that you see on your screen right now is a dead core. Just a dead core of a star. But it does put off a tremendous amount of radiation. And it does have a very, very strong magnetic field, which affects the Earth, which affects the sun. And now that the sun is going to sleep for the next 11 years during this solar minimum, what does that mean for us here on Earth? Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Put it all together. The pieces of the puzzle are coming together. It's not a damn conspiracy. It's fact. It is the truth. The other YouTube channels that are out there that show you all of the garbage, keep on giving them views. Keep on commenting. Oh, wow, Paul. I can't believe you captured that. Whoa. What's the matter with you people? Did you all fucking flunk science class? There's no damn way that there could be two suns in the sky. Photographic anomalies, lens flares, complete BS. You're so worried about leaving these "oh, wow" comments. Why do you think they have these people on YouTube? Why do you think they have these people muddying the waters all over social media with their bullshit videos and their bullshit photographs showing you fake stuff? Is because they want you to believe that conspiracy. They don't want you to see the truth. Period. Period. I don't mean to be so harsh on a lot of you, but listen, I mean, I've been a blowhard on YouTube now for 4 years, totaling over 2,100 videos and over 20-some million views on my videos. 12 books written with Dr. Albers and I. Countless articles on my websites. All of the photographic evidence, the best photographic evidence there is for all of you to see. And you still go to these other idiots and you wow their nonsense videos. I think over the years, I've done a pretty damn good job of educating all of you that have stuck around. But now I don't know who's real and who's a bot, who's a live human being and who's not. No wonder people don't like me. Because you know why? The truth hurts. It really does. And there's a lot of people that just want to live in denial. Well, you go right ahead. You live in that denial and you see how long you make it in this world. Because the things that you remember from the past about how this world is, that's exactly what it's going to be. The past. Nothing is ever going to be normal for any of us from this day on. We're not all going to die. The world is not going to end. But we are going to go through some pretty interesting times. And, well, not going to sugarcoat shit and call it candy, but yeah, there will be casualties. There will be people that will lose their lives. Better to be prepared than not. And it's better to have that knowledge than not. Anyways, folks, I'll be doing some more live streams more frequently. I've been really busy with some other projects, and I've been working on a lot more UFO data and a lot of political stuff. And it's been taking up a lot of my time. But trust me, I watch everything. I watch everything that's going on. But listen, guys, do yourselves a favor. Do all of yourselves a favor. Don't fall for the garbage. Don't fall for the garbage YouTube channels like Steve Olson and Alex Luhan, and now I see that guy Paul Roger, or whatever the hell his name is, and a bunch of other people just putting out complete stinking garbage. That lady over there at the Final Days, whatever the hell she's doing over there, all garbage. It is polluting your minds. And I feel really bad for the people that subscribe religiously to those YouTube channels, and for those people that run those YouTube channels to fill their subscribers' heads with garbage. They're doing the wrong thing. They're not doing the right thing. If you don't believe me, you just sit back and watch, and you'll see where the real truth is coming from. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. There will be more to come. You can guarantee that. Folks, be safe out there. Watch your weather. Don't be a victim. Don't be a statistic. And remember, knowledge is power. Take care, folks. See you soon.